Perfect. So, so we are going to talk about events and the event-driven automation that we can make from the UiPath Maestro. And my name is Darshan Sabale, and I am automation engineer at Accelerate, and I'm also a UiPath MVP for 2026, and I also work as UiPath community speaker. And what is our today's agenda? So today's agenda is what are Maestro events, understanding triggers and event handling, starting workflow using events, connecting Maestro with external systems, and building event-driven automation scenarios. So before we deep dive into the details, I want to show you a BPMN workflow here. So this workflow I have built, and at first glance, you can't understand what is exactly doing here. So some of you might see this BPM event for the first time. Some of might be familiar with them, and some might don't know any one of them. So that's perfectly okay because today what here we are going to do is understand all types of these events. So over the next 1 hour, we will break down each components step by step. We will understand why we are here today, how these events work, how we can trigger a process using events, how we can, catch the exceptions, how we can create a better exception handling, and how we can connect our master with external systems. So before we start, let's understand about what are events in BPMN. So event represents something that happens during a process. Think them as a signals or occurrence that influence your process or workflow. So based on the type, there are four types of events. We can say at start, intermediate, boundary events, and end events. And we can also use them as a trigger to the process, which can be a message trigger, time trigger, etc. So if we talk about a real world example, we can talk about food delivery example. Imagine that you have just ordered a food using Swiggy or Zomato. The moment you place an order, something happens and it triggers a process for your food delivery. So that we can call it as a start event in BPMN. Once you have ordered the food, that order gets accepted by the restaurant. That we can call it as an intermediate event where a restaurant accepts your order, they prepare your food, the delivery partner gets assigned, and after that we have an end event, which is the food delivered to your home. So this example perfectly suits to the events we have in the BPMN. So there are four types, as I said: start events, intermediate events, boundary events, and end events. So let's get dive into each of them. So first we will start with start events. So there are three types of starts events. So first is none, where we will not have any icons for that event. It will have simple circle. Then second event type is message, and the third one is timer. So each one of them have their specific identity. So a start event defines how process begins, and a diagram must include at least one start event. So basically, whenever we are working with BPMN, so we should have at least one start event which can trigger your process. So that's why here it is mentioned as a diagram must include at least one start event. So none is used for manual starts. So basically, if you have not scheduled any trigger or you don't want any trigger, you want to trigger the process manually. So by default, you have to use the start node, the start event, which is used for the manually triggering the process, which is defined outside the BPMN model. So you can publish this process, and this process laterwards onward can be triggered by a person from the orchestrator. Okay, so the second type is message. So from the name itself, we can understand the motive of those events. So start events with message type indicates that process is being triggered by the message, incoming message from the external connectivities such as Gmail, Outlook, or any messaging platform like Teams or Slack. There you can add a message, and that message can trigger your agentic process in Maestro. And the third event is the timer event, which we can commonly state as time triggers in our orchestrator. So this timer icon indicates that this specific event is time based. So The time base can be trigger this process at specific time or after specific intervals of time. You can schedule it for multiple days or multiple intervals, or you can also set it for daily at specific times of intervals. So it's same as the time trigger available in the orchestrator. Then we have intermediate events. So as I said, when we order a food from Swiggy or Zomato, it goes to the restaurant, and then restaurant starts preparing food and look for the delivery partner which can deliver a food. So that's how this intermediate events works. So intermediate events model things that happen between the start and end process. So anything which happens between start and end events, it known as intermediate events, and they can delay the flow, wait for an input, or they can send signals or receive signals from external systems. So here also we have three types of intermediate events. First one is message, second one is timer, and third one is error. So the first one is message, and in the bracket we can see it written as catching. So whenever we are using this intermediate event, which is called message, it waits for a message to come into your specific application. For example, from here onwards, we will think about Gmail. So this specific event will wait for a Gmail email to come into inbox, and once it comes into inbox, then it will proceed the flow further. Similarly, we have timer. So this timer event can be used as an immediate event where we can add a delay in our process. Or for example, for food delivery, you might have seen that if order gets delayed after 5 minutes, they cancel the order or they refund your amount, right? So there we can use this intermediate timer where we can set a specific time like 30 minutes. So I can add a 30 minutes of timer, and after that timer hits the counter, it will throw the exception, or it will start the process of refunding of the amount to the customer. And the third one is the error event. So error event represent an exception and must be caught by an error boundary event on a task. So these error events are used to catch the exception caught by the error boundary. So basically this is being used by like a try catch in our RPA workflows, and that we can use in our Maestro BPM. So now we have reached out to the third types of event, which is boundary events. So boundary events are attached to the task or sub process to the model to interrupt or for the timeouts or for the interruption. Let's assume the same example that waiting for food delivery and it got delayed. Okay. So in that case, we want a refund. So in that case, we can attach this timer, interrupting timer event to our user process where that process will run. So in process, we can attach that interruption timer, and once that timer reaches its time, it will throw out an exception. It will stop the delivery and it will start the refunding process. So that's how we can use the interrupting timer. Same, we have the interrupting error. So previously we will talk about the intermediate error. Now we have interrupting error where it will catch an exception thrown in your RPA process. For example, you have invoked a RPA process and you have added this interrupting boundary event. So it will catch that exception and it will goes further by throwing an exception into that process. And the third one is the escalation, which catches an escalation within the attach activity. For example, you have a RPA process which throws an escalation when there is any issues with the data or any miscommunication happen, or any other type of data which is not required is gathered. So it throws an escalation. So at that time we can use this non-interrupting activity to catch that exception, and it will wait for that exception to be completed. So currently this escalation boundary events is not supported for the execution. So we can only use this for the modeling for the BPM event. So I will get back to you about the what are the execution and what are the modeling events. So let's complete the end events first. So to end the events, we have four types of events. First is none, where we will have a small circle, normal circle, which is known as common end, which marks the process as end. It will not do anything. It just ends the process. And then we have message end event. So this specific event wait for a message to, wait for message, or it will send a message to complete the process and stop the process. So here in the meaning, you can see that sends a message to an external participant or system when the path ends, and often used to notify the other process or other triggers. For example, I can use this as a next trigger to the process. I will send an email to the inbox, and that inbox will trigger next process. That's how we can use this end event for the message type. Then we have another type of error. Whenever there is an error thrown by a boundary event, that can be catched with this error end event. And basically, whenever we are using non type of or message type of things, it will not throw any errors. It will just show you the completed status in your orchestrator. But when you use error, it will show you the faulted or system, faulted state of the job. Same thing happens with the terminate. Whenever you think of that, you want to terminate the entire workflow after such specific, task happen or a specific error caught. So you can use this terminate workflow, which will terminate your workflow at the same place where it is running right now. So these are the types of multiple events. So before wasting much time, I will just get into UiPath Maestro to show you all the types. From the cloud, we can go to Maestro. So whoever is adding messages in the chat, I will respond to them at the end of this session so that we can clarify those questions. Okay. So be with me. So let's start modeling. Okay. So I have created one process BPMN. Let's wait for it to load. Perfect. So by default here you can see, as I said, we need at least one event, start event in your diagram to start your process, and that's why Maestro by default provides you a start event here. And based upon the action, we can decide the type of that event. So normally we can say it as start event, but when you connect a connector, it becomes a message start event. And for example, if you want a timer based, then you can search here for the start events. So here you can see multiple types of start events are available. And I have explained three of them: start event, message start event, and timer start event. But what about this conditional start event and signal start event? And here you can see the yellow mark over there. If I drag and drop them, here you can see that implementation is not supported. So what UiPath did is they have, gathered all the BPMN elements which are available throughout the uh, business processes, and they tried to mimic them. So whatever currently are useful or whatever use case currently UiPath has, those are in the production. But whatever types of events which not really used by the worldwide organizations, or those are not required at all right now, those are being staged out as implementation is not supported. But in future, if any client or any customer requirement is there, like they want to have, for example, this conditional start event, then UiPath will get these things into the production. So currently whatever is in yellow mark, we can use it to just do the modeling. It can't be do for the execution. So let's focus on the only elements which are being there for the execution. So as I said, we have timer event as well. If you drag and drop it, here you can select the type of it. Either you can, now we have only one type available, which is cycle, and that you can repeat here within seconds or minutes, monthly, daily. It's similar to the time trigger available in the orchestrator. If we click on daily, so daily every how many days? Like we can add 1 day of interval every day. And then we can select the time as well, that at what specific day or what specific time you want to start this trigger, and you can hit on apply. So this is how you can configure the time event, and this is the messenger event. I can show you. Let's select activity. I will go with Gmail for today's demo. For example, if I received any email, then I should trigger this process. So now I have clicked on email received, and now it will show me to select for a Gmail connection. So what you have to do is create your connection into the integration services, and those connection can be seen here. So I will choose this one for the today's demo. After selecting the Gmail connection, here you can see the input folder or label which we brought. So we can provide the available inputs from my account. So as of now, I will go with inbox. And another thing is you can filter out the email. So basically, it should not happen that any random spam email is coming and your process get triggered. You should have some filter, right? So you can create a filter. We have a conditions and group of filters here. For example, I will add condition, and there we can see the multiple subject. You can say subject, label, from id, ccs, thread, to id, if it allows attachments or not, and then entire body, bcc email. And from these things you can filter out the exact email which should trigger the process, and you can save it so that we can have, for example, I will just delete this one. I want an email that comes from my name, Darshan. So it will just trigger the process which comes from the Darshan, which email ID contains Darshan, and I will save. So it creates a filter for it. So this is how we have three events here. So this is one. The first one is the none, where we don't have anything. It's a simple circle which starts the event. When we wait for a message, when we implement a wait for a connector activity, and it will wait for email, then it will be a message or trigger. And when we schedule the thing, it will be a timer event. So now let's talk about immediate events. So here we have three types of intermediate events. So we have this timer event. So this timer event can be connected by any of the nodes, but for the start event, it always has the one output. You can see we can't attach anything to the start events. It will not allow you, as those are made to start the process. But this timer will give you feasibility that any of the start event or any of the user task or service task can be connected to this timer. So what I told you, that we can add a delay into the process, like just like manually we add a delay activity in our RPA workflows. Similarly, we can have this intermediate time active event. So here also the same, we can add a date or a specific duration for which time the process should stop. And if you click on this value, it gives you a drop down here where you can put out your delay amount. For example, if I want to be it in seconds, so I can add 100 seconds of delay. If you want it in hours, you can always add 4 hours or 5 hours, whatever your priority is. Like even you can add a delay for 1 year here, you can see. So this is a timer intermediate event. Then we have message intermediate event. So we have two types of message intermediate event. One is catch and one is throw. So from their name itself, we can understand catch means it will wait for an email, and throw means it sends an email. So whenever you want to send any email, or whenever you want to wait for an email, we can use these events. So first go with the intermediate catch event. Here you can see, here always you have to go to the connector, and as it's a catch event, we should use wait for connector. And what we are waiting for, so we are waiting for a Gmail email. So here we will write email received. We will make a Gmail connection, and again whatever filters we required, whatever email folder we required, we can add it and configure it here. Similarly, for the message intermediate throw event, what you have to do, you have to click on connector and you have to execute the connector activity. So from the name itself, we know that throw, we are throwing an email. So we will select activity, we will go for the Gmail activities again, and here I might be having some send email. Yes, so we have to select the send email. Similarly, it will ask for Gmail connection. So I already have the connection added here, so it will pick it up. So here you have some information that you can pass based upon your requirement. Either you want to save it as draft or not, whom you want to send the email. For example, you are generating a body of this email from a AI agent, and you are not confident enough that the body is correctly written down or not. So you can always use this option to save as draft. So it will not send an email, but it will save that draft of that email to your account, and you can later verify it and send it. So this functionality is there. You can use the subject, body, and you can also attach the attachments here. We have other options as well, which is not mandatory, but we can add them, which is importance of the email. Either it should be normal, high, or low. Then either we can reply to an email which is came into the your mailbox inbox. We can add CC or BCC in your emails, which are the optional fields. So this is how throw and catch message events works. And then we have normal intermediate event as well, this one. So this is a normal intermediate event which can change their behavior based on the action you are performing. So currently for this one, we have wait for connector or execute connector activity. So whatever you feel like, for example, I will go with wait for connector, it automatically changed its events. So as I am just waiting for it, so it converted it into the intermediate catch event automatically. And as we are talking about integration with other systems, so UiPath has organized this many products or this many applications which it supports for the connections. So whatever products or applications available here, you can make a connection with them, and you can decide like how this application can trigger the process. For example, I hope everyone has worked with ServiceNow. So let's click on this ServiceNow. Sorry. Yeah. So these many triggers are available, like if any record is updated or any incident is created, or ServiceNow new record is created, task updated, task created, incident updated. So these specific activities will trigger your workflow. So which made your automation flows very easy. Previously, what we have to do, we have to create a API automation, and then we need to think about whatever updates or whatever recently updated tasks are there or newly created tasks are there. Then we will trigger the process. That's how we were working earlier. So now that entire thing has been gone. What UiPath did is they directly created connections, triggers, and they can trigger the process automatically. So almost UiPath has covered all the applications or the products which has the integration with UiPath. For example, we have Coupa here, we have Gmail, Google Drive, GitHub as well. You could even create your GitHub, pipelines here. Here you can see whenever we are record created, issue close, pull request created or updated, or repositories created. Whenever we are creating a new repository, you can create a pipeline for it here. It will trigger the your process. You can pack that process and you can upload it to the orchestrator. So multiple types of things we can do with these connectors. And if you don't find any connector which is useful to you, so UiPath also has a solution for it. For example, I will write something which it can't find. So we don't have any connector for this one. But when you want to create a connector for it, so UiPath has a solution called we can create our own connector. For that, that specific application should have the API instances or API support where we can create a API flows which can trigger or create your connections. So these was the intermediate events. Let's go to catch events. So before using the catch events can be always used to catch the exceptions or add a delay in a process or make a process concerned to the time that between this time only that process should happen, or it should wait for some messages, or any message should interrupt that process, or any message should ignored by that messages. So we need a process or a task here. So for example, I will get a workflow here, start RPA workflow. I hope I will have one workflow here. Okay, I have a lot of them. For example, process payment. So here you can see this is a service task. I will delete all of these events. Okay, perfect. So how to add the boundary events here? So whenever we click on here you can see this boundary event icon, add boundary event. Whenever you are clicking on it, you can see the multiple boundary events available. So there are two types of boundary event. One is interrupting, one is non-interrupting. So from the name itself, you can understand whenever we are using interrupting, it will interrupt your entire process. So wherever this event has been caught, it will stop the entire process. It will stop the execution of that flow and it will go to the next stage after that event has been caught. And then we have non-interrupting, which will create us another flow, another node, which will not interrupt your existing workflow. So we will cover this scenario so that we can have a practical demonstration of it. But I will show you how we can add the boundary events. So to add the boundary event, for example, I will add a message boundary event here. I will click on it. So see, it is placed on the boundary of your user task or the service task, whichever you have. And when you click on it, it has the action which is always waiting for a message. So currently we have a message boundary event which will wait for a message in between your process. For example, the similar example of food delivery. If you don't want that food, what we do, we cancel that order, right? So to cancel that order, there must be some event, right, that it will connect to that event and it will notify your restaurant that user or customer has requested to cancel the order. So same thing here, we can say, I will just rename this task order preparation. So whenever this order preparation is going on, we have this boundary event, message boundary event, which waits for customer to add a message regarding stop or the canceling the order. And what I can do is, this specific process is running and I have added this message boundary event. It is waiting for connector. I will wait for a Gmail email to interrupt the process. Okay, it will select the Gmail connection here. Suppose we have it in inbox. So it's, for example, I'm showing you with the Gmail. It can be any communication channel. So what I will do, I will filter it on based on the subject that it has written as order cancel. Okay. So it will wait for a specific email with the name or with the subject called order cancel. And as it's a interrupting event, we can go right here end. So this is an end event which we can cover later. But for understanding, I will show you here. Here will be another end activity. So what's the difference between both of them now? So whenever order preparation is going on, entire order is completed and user has not clicked on cancel order, then this simple flow will work. It will go here, then it will go here, and it will go here. This one will not be executed. But when a user cancels a order, so this boundary event will catch that email and itself it will understand that user has cancelled the order and it will interrupt the execution of this workflow. So whenever this boundary event catches, this service task in orchestrator goes into canceling state. So this process will stop. The status of that job becomes stopping, and that process will stop, and this catch will throw this process to this end event. So you can think about the two ways. First will be the simple way where user does not cancels the order, and the second route will be the when user cancels the order. So it contains multiple steps ahead. So whenever user cancels the order, it will be refund initiative. All the process will be dragged down here. So either we can split those processes into two. So now we have next boundary event, which is timer. So we have timer boundary here. So here similar thing, we have timer boundary event and we can add a specific time or specific interval so that this process will delay, or we can control the time of that process and we will decide whether that process should continue or not. For example, of the food delivery, when there is a delay. So here the food preparation is going on and I'm selecting the delay as 30 minutes, and it's an interrupting delay. Okay, and I will connect it here to the end event. So what we'll do, order preparation is going on, and if that order preparation crosses the 30 minutes of interval, the moment it crosses 30 minutes, this timer boundary event get hit, And as it's an interrupting, it will stop this process, it will stop the order preparation, and it will go into end state. So here we can have multiple flows, like it will initiate and refund, or initiate an email, or initiate a message to the customer that your food is on the way, it's being delayed, or something like that. So that is how you can check with this one. So currently, with the interrupting one, it will interrupt the preparation, right? It will end the preparation, it will stop the preparation. But what happens when you want to continue the process? So there it comes the non-interrupting boundaries. I will click on this time boundary. So they look similar, but the only difference is when you have hard-coded circle, which will be known as a interrupting, and when you have the dotted circle, it means it's a uh, non-interrupting. So what non-interrupting does? So whenever, for example, just similar to the interrupting one, I will add a duration of 30 minutes. Okay. But as a, instead of canceling the order, I will wrote email to the customer. So here you can use the another throw events as well for the message, or you can also select a user task which sends an email. So here we go to the task, we will go to the connector, execute connector activity, we will search for Gmail, and then yes, send email. So with the properties, we need to define the connection. Okay, it got the connection. So we can add two fields, subject and body. We can mention everything that because of some time issues or whatever issues, the preparation has been delayed, but food will be delivered within 10 minutes or 15 minutes with extra time. And then he will route this to the successful scenario where it will end. So this is how interrupting and non-interrupting timer boundary events works. Then we have error boundary event. We will search it here. Error. So this is the error boundary event. So basically, it is being used to catch the exception in your workflows or in your task. So this is my order preparation task where I have placed this error boundary event, and here I can decide what types of exception I can catch. I can either catch all, or I can even create a new types of system exception. So this code we can get it from the workflow error. So there we have a code where we can select that code and we can add it here. For example, I am using the system exception in throw activity, then that code will be a robot. So I can use the robot code and I can catch that exact exception here. Because of that, those are system exception, and I can route it here to handle it. So similarly, as it works as a try catch for the task, I have attached it, and it will catch an exception. For example, while order preparation, um, we got some, because of some emergencies, restaurant has cancelled your order. So it will be a throw event, that it will be a business exception that it has thrown. And if we select here to catch all, it will also catch the business exceptions. Okay, let me refresh my Maestro. Edit here. Okay. So what I can do is, in exception, I will click on catch all, and it will catch all the exception. And based on that exception, either you can decide end that process normally, okay, or you can decide either you have to throw an exception. So the status of that job in orchestrator will be faulted. Because if you are using normal end event, your process will be ended without any exception. So now what I have to do, I will check for an end event, the error end event. I will delete this normal end event, and I will connect this catch with this error end event. And I can see either I can catch this error which I have created at the start. It will catch that error, it will throw it here. And whenever this process runs in production in Orchestrator, this error is caught, and because of this specific error is caught, it will throw an exception here, and the job status of your agentic process will get into faulted. And from there you can understand that a specific error or the exception has occurred into the process, and we have to look on it. So from there we can throw the exception here. Similar way we can do with the terminate. So we have end event for terminate as well. Yeah. So when a specific exception is occurred, instead of throwing an exception, I want to terminate entire execution. So it caught exception here, but further also we have some processes which are running on. So this terminate will stop the process right away. It will terminate all the processes. That's how we use the terminate and text. And then we have another end event is message. So what it will do, it will send a message. For example, if order preparation is done, so there is no error in it, so it will ignore this boundary event. But whenever there is an it has completed the order preparation, it will go with this flow, and this is a message end event. So at the end, what we do send an email or message to the customer that we have delivered your order. So here we have the connector activity. This is execute connective. Then we have to check for the connector which we have connected, Gmail. And here what we will do, we will receive an email. Sorry, it will not be receive. I think we are sending an email, right? So we should look for send email. Yes. So we are sending an email. So it will be the end of that process, sending an email. So I have shown you almost all start and immediate events. Now I will show you the exact process which I have shown you at the start of the event. And now I will explain you that process so that you will get the basic idea why I have used those events in between those process. So this is my BPMM workflow which I have created. You can always do plus to zoom in. Yeah. So see, I have created three types of trigger for my process. First is the start manually. I can start this process manually from the orchestrator. Second one is the timer event. So at specific or daily at 1 a.m. this process starts. And then we have a email trigger as well. Whenever I receive an email in inbox, let it load with the filter called start process. It starts the process. So there are three triggers for my process here. And whenever we are uploading this process or we are just deploying this process into the production, I can show you how triggers can be seen there. We will go to orchestrator. So from Maestro, whenever we publish our process, it's create entire folder for it that we call solution. So I will show you my solution here. So currently I have placed in my workplace. This is a separate solution folder where I can see all the automation created. You can see my agentic process demo, which is an agentic process. See, this is the agentic process. Then we have deliver order, prepare shipments, process payments. So all the processes which I have created, those are available here. Even I can do the version management here manually. For example, some of issues, any one of the uh, any of one of the workflow is failing, I can update it and I can publish it. But I want to use the previous version of some workflows here, so I can do that as well. In the jobs section, you can see the jobs available or jobs triggered by the processes, and I was showing you triggers, right? Yeah. So we had three types of triggers. One is the manual, which we can always start our process from the uh, processes itself. From here, we will go to the agentic and we can start the process right away. Likewise, we can also select the run times. So as we have three start events, so we can choose our entry point, whether we want to start manually or we will wait for the message or we will wait for the daily activity or daily trigger. This is how you can manually start the process. And then we have the triggers. As I told you, the time triggers are the exactly same as the time triggers which we have in the orchestrator. If you go and edit, you can edit the time triggers here as well. See what we did, we had kept the daily, we have kept one at 1 a.m. daily. So see, this is the same trigger which we have created here. And what about the message? So message is type of event trigger. So if you go to the event trigger, you can see here the trigger. If you click on edit in package requirement, so here you can see the connection which we have made. For in case whatever connection you have made during the development, you don't want to use that. So you can always come here and change the connection which you want. And I can also select the inbox folder or the type of folder you want to choose. But the filters will be same as we are working with the process. So we can cancel this. So this is how your start events or start trigger will look in your orchestrator. And once any of this start event hits, the process will start. So I have created these placeholders for understanding that I have received an order. It will validate that order details. And once that order details are validated, we will send an order confirmation email. So here I have used intermediate message event, throw event. So it will send an email that order has been confirmed to the customer. And then we have this wait for timer intermediate catch event. So this is a specifically a delay, that delay has been made for the 24 hours, so that after confirmation of order, the customer will start processing the payment, and we have the 24 hours for that. After 24 hours has been completed, a process payment process will start. So this process will analyze whether this payment has been made or not. If that payment is made, then it will go further for preparing the shipment. But because of some errors, or because customer has not done the payment, this process will throw an system exception or business exception based upon the requirements. And whenever that business exception is thrown or system exception is thrown, it will get cached into this process in boundary event. So here I have made the use of boundary event. It will catch that error and it will throw and fault the entire execution. It will stop the process. Similarly, after getting the process payment successfully, it will go for the preparing that shipment. So during preparation of shipment, we can consider of time delays, right? So there are two types of delay. One, when your company is strict with your timings, that you will prepare your shipments within only 5 days and it will be delivered. So you always sends a refund to the customer that we are apology to, we can't send your shipment. So in that case, we can add a timer here. So for now I have added a 1 hour of, you can just say that, um, 5 days of timer. So if it cross the 5 days, then this is a time boundary wait, which is interrupting. So it will interrupt this process. It will stop this process when 5 days are hit. And after this 5 days are hit, it will go here and send a delay notification that because of delays, we were unable to deliver your package, and it will go to the end event. It will stop the process. But what happens if you have the solution that, yeah, I know that we have the delay here. Suppose we can add a delay of 3 days. So after 3 days, what it will do, it will catch the 3 days event. It will go here. It will send a delay notification that, yeah, because of so and so issue, we have a delay in delivery process or preparing shipment. But within 2 days or 3 days, your package will be shipment, and then it will go here. So it's kind of a reminder, you can say, or delay notification to the customer, and it will go here. And here I have used parallel gateway. So I have already explained this gateways in our previous session, in the session one, and here I have used that parallel gateway. So this parallel gateway will wait for this prepare statement to be completed. So likewise, you can add multiple, delay notifications here. For example, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and whatever codes, it will automatically send notification. It will come here and it will wait for this preparation of shipment. Once all nodes are completed, and then this parallel activity go further for the delivering order. So for delivering order, I have created two catch events. So these two catch events are, first, will wait for an email which will ask it to stop the delivery or stop the process, and the second mail will be continue the process. So what it will do, it will wait for that message. Once that message is delivered, then this deliver order process will stop, and it will go here to terminate the workflow. But with non interrupting, it will not stop that process, it will start delivering it. And once it got into here, so for here I have used exclusive gateway. So there, instead of waiting for this delivery order, if we want to continue the process, we will send an email. So this delivery order will run in the background as it is, it will not stop. But because of this, we have exclusive gateway, so either this or this will be executed here. And because I don't have any conditions, I have selected that edge as default path. So whatever executed was, it will make it as default path. And here I have added intermediate message activity. So previously we have seen throw activity, here we have a catch event activity which will catch an email. So it waits for delivery confirmation from the customer, that customer will drop an email that delivery has been confirmed. And then we have this close order workflow. So either we can normally complete this, stop this event completely, or we can just send a closure notification to the customer that we have delivered your order and now we are closing this order. So this is how I have created my workflow. So even I can show you how we can start the process. So normal process I have shown you, we can directly trigger it. I also have the time based triggered, so which will run in next 10 hours. One thing I can show you is this trigger event. So what I can do is I will just update my processes to the latest version. Okay. So now we were talking about the event trigger, right? So I will send an email with the start process and it should start the process. Compose the email, start process, that's sent. So I can see our email has been triggered here. And this Gmail connector has the connectivity of 1 minute. So for every 1 minute, a heartbeat will be sent to your connector and it will check whether that condition is satisfied or not. So we will go here in the job and you can see it has triggered the process automatically because of that email. If you click on this one, so now because of this agentic process is connected with other workflows as well, so it will start adding those workflows and creating their instances here. But how we can see those instances? We can always click on this agentic process. It will load you the entire instance of that process. So here you can see what is being happened in the entire process. So here order message was received, then these things were happened. It has sent the confirmation order. I can show you that. Let me refresh. Yeah, order has been confirmed, email was shooted. Then here a delay was happened here, so it has sent a notification, delay in shipment, and now it is going to deliver the order. So deliver order has a two boundary events. So either it will wait for an email to stop the process, or it will wait for it to continue. So as of now, let's let it execute. Let me show how much delay I have added in deliver. Okay, 1 minute. So after 1 minute, this process will flow further. So let's wait for it. Similarly, in execution trail, you can see whatever events or whatever task has been executed, and also it shows whatever has been ignored. For example, here this time event was ignored, so it has added it here, and also it will show the currently executing event. So currently we are a message boundary event is executing, and also the delivery. Okay, so as we did not receive any email, this goes into red state. We did not catch anything, and it will go further with this exclusive gateway. And now this flow is waiting for a confirmation. So it will keep waiting until I send an email that order has been delivered. So what I will do, I will just copy this. I will compose an email, or sorry, you can see an email came here. Let's go to here. So this connection will wait for at least 1 minute to receive the email. And also you have, independence to pause your instance at the moment, and you can even start that instance whenever you want. For example, I will pause this moment for testing purpose. I will see pause instance. Now your process has been stopped. So if you want to execute it further, you can always click on resume. You can say, so providing these comments is not necessary. Either you can add it for your reference, or you can just keep it empty. I will resume the process, and now this process will wait for that confirmation. So each type of gateways or each type of user task can be seen here, and you can see the variables used inside it and the details of that specific thing. For example, I can show you this is the wait for payment. I added 5 seconds of delay there, so it showed the execution duration of 5 seconds. I don't have any variables in workflow for movement to show you. For example, this validate order details is a process, or this receive log order. So whatever variables are created, you can see those variables here. I think I need to send an email again as I stop the process. Let me cross check the condition. Okay, order delivered. Okay, I see a small mistake here. You can see it has been connected to this node, and now it is waiting for it, I think. And because of that, execution is going into a loop. I will just stop this execution from here. You can always cancel the execution from here. You can add the comments and you can click on cancel. Once you cancel this, you can see it has gone into the red state. Let me just delete this and add a new node. So you have to be careful with while creating these nodes, because sometimes it gets connected to the next one directly and we can't even understand that. So again, I need to publish this process, and once this process is published, then we can rerun this process. We have hit our today's timer as it's already 8. So let's focus on the question. I have completed all the things here. So before we wrap up, I want every one of you to scan this, as this will be our next session on next Tuesday, where we will whatever I have shown you at the end, what is the instance, and how we can do production readiness, trigger setups, then including the governance, monitoring of those processes, implementations, all the things we should consider while doing the implementation of Maestro processes, which we'll discuss into the session 3. So I encourage everyone to take the screenshot of this QR code or scan this QR code and join that session as well. And as usual, we have these QR codes for Pune chapter, where you can go to the Pune chapter events page. We have UiPath Academy scanner here. You can always go to UiPath Academy to learn these things out. And we have UiPath forum available here. In case if we are not able to answer any of the questions, you can always post those questions into UiPath forum so that everyone can ask them. And then obviously we have UiPath Pune community WhatsApp group to connect faster. We can, answer your questions on that community group. Even if we are busy, then other members are there, other developers are there who can answer your questions. So let's go to the chat once as we have some time. Okay, where we can find the session. So we will post this session recording in the same event page, or also we can update that recording into this Pune community group, WhatsApp group. We will post that YouTube link in that group, so you can find it there. Marta is saying that Azure example would be nice. Yes, so we can always integrate the Azure. We can have the Azure repositories there, which can trigger the processes. We can also do a lot of things with it. And we are planning for some Azure event as well where we can show the implementation. I see other questions are answered by Maheshwari. So feel free to unmute your mic and you can ask a question around events or whatever we have discussed today. So I will be happy to solve your doubts. Or else you can also drop it in chat as well if you are not satisfied with the answers. Okay, I see it as
Okay.
no. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Venkatesh, tell me.
Yeah. Uh, you showed me like we can pass with the robot 3 days like that, right? Like, is it impacting the like business or everything? The next, like, is it a robot? Like,
So
robot still
can you tell me which
stay
step you are talking about? Timer events or
time
messaging?
management? Yeah, time management.
Okay. Okay. So
Is
what
it
I
to
have done
pass
here,
there or is it to do something?
so it will just pass. It will, based on the it is interrupting or it is not interrupting. If it's a interrupting, whenever this specific timer hits, it will stop this process and it will go for the next process. But if it's a non-interrupting, then it will go to this 3 days of delay. It will send a notification and it will go for the next step. But the next step here is a parallel gateway. So what parallel gateway will do? It will wait for the another node as well to complete. So it will send a delay notification and then also it will wait for that shipment to be prepared. And then only once both of them are completed, then this parallel gateway will combine these nodes and it will go for delivering the order. I hope I have
Okay.
answered your question.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have a small doubt. Like, is it the same? The BPM is the same the UiPath Studio, or is it the different? Like in UiPath Studio, we have a queues. Like, oh, if the bot is completed one queue, then only it will pick the next queue item. Like that, it happen. Like, is it a totally different
Okay,
concept?
so it's a similar concept. So it's how you built your process. So when we are working with Studio, we have RE framework, right, to process multiple queue items at the same time.
Yes.
So somewhere like you can create your own frameworks and or you can select the custom frameworks available with the UiPath. And ideally, whatever I have created now, it will work with the only one queue item at a one time. So I have not used queue here, but you can use queue as well, where you can I will show you here. If you go to the user tasks in the actions, you can have the queues as well here. So either you can create a queue item, and either you can create and wait for that queue item. So it's similar to the, what we do with the RPA flows, where if we want to continue with the queue items, we can do here.
Okay. In the case, the queue remains in progress for 3 days, right? Like previously, you said like
Yes,
previously we
it will be.
discussed
Yes, it
the
will be there in progress for 3 days. Also, your solution, that process which is running, it will be also in progress for 3 days. So to avoid those in progress, you can, create a user task. And if user task is created, your process goes into the suspended state. And once it has been answered, or that user task has processed, it will goes into resume state and it will start processing it again. And
okay.
uh, and I think
Yeah,
you have the doubt related to the time when 24 hours elapse and then queue item gets
exactly.
into abundant
Yeah,
state,
it
right?
will go abundant. Yeah, that
Yeah.
will change the
So
status. Yeah.
yeah. So whenever we are creating such processes, and whenever we are dealing with the delays, we always need to enable the persistent activities. So whenever you go into the project setting, yeah, there you have the enable persistent. There is a toggle there. You can enable that, and that will understand. And by default, UiPath Maestro processes are long running processes. So UiPath has, in the background, they have configured it to handle the long delays and long running activities. So it will
Understood.
not get your queue item into abundant state. It will wait for entire actions to be completed, and then only it will change to the specific state which you have mentioned. Based on system exception, it will be failed. If it's processed, then it will be a success.
Yeah, understood. Uh,
I see
Thank you
one
so much.
more. Yeah, thank you. We have Sujit in chat. Can we call multiple agents to Maestro, and will AI units be consumed, and will debugging AI consumes? Okay. So yes, the answer is yes. We can call multiple AI agents. There is no limits to add the agents here. You can add multiple RPA workflows. You can add multiple send email, catch email activities. There is no limitations. And you're talking about the units. So yes, it consumes units as well, as we are working with AI. So there is some quota of AI units which will be consumed during the execution and the debugging as well. Harmeet Singh has also has one question. If there are multiple items in queue and one item went into human in the loop condition, what will happen, and how much next item will take to come into process? So see, as it's a linear process, it is not dealing with multiple queue items. For now, I have only one queue item in process. So your queue trigger will be made in a specific way. For example, I will add a trigger here for this deliver. I don't have any queues here. Yeah. But here you can see minimum number of jobs to trigger this first job items. So I have set it as one. So whenever there are one queue item available, it will throw an trigger, and it will trigger the process, specific process which we have here, and also the maximum number of pending jobs allowed. So here you can change the job numbers. For example, if you have set it to 100, so whenever a process went into human in the loop, it will suspend it there. But this trigger will know that the specific we have more queue items, and it will again refresh and trigger a new job, and another job is triggered for each one new item. So here also we can see, we can create a new job for each item when there is a one. Here also you can see, after completing or suspending job, reassess condition and start new job. So this should be enable in your case. Okay, so whenever you enable this one, so whenever the process goes into human in the loop, it will goes into suspended state, right? So whenever a queue item goes into suspended state, it starts for the new job for the next one if there are any queue items available. Okay. Okay, someone has wrote, can you please provide the recording session? Okay. So just join this WhatsApp group. I will paste the previous session's recording, and after 1 or 2 days, I will also post this second session recording as well. Does anyone have any doubts? Okay, I don't see any message now. So I hope you have really enjoyed this session and understand how events are there. Venkatesh has asked one question. Yes, Venkatesh. So we have targeted our Maestro BPMN to cover in 3 sessions. So far by now we have completed uh, events. We have completed gateways and tasks in first session. So entire things related to the development of the process into the Maestro we have completed. And now in next session we will talk about how we can publish this process into the production and do the instance management. What will be the best practices for it? All those things will be taken into consideration for session 3. Keur Mehta, thank you for your kind words. So what I did tried here is like creating a small understandable use case with the example of food delivery so everyone can understand it. Thank you, Venkatesh. Okay, I think we should wrap up now. It's already 8:11. I will encourage everyone to join this WhatsApp group. If in case if you still have any doubts, you can ask me there. And also we have other MVPs available there or other fellow developers as well who can answer your questions there. Okay, then I think it's wrap and let's connect into the session 3. Thank you everyone for joining this session and have a nice day ahead. Goodbye.